Hey, welcome to Loveable AF. I'm Grateful Sherry. So, Business Building Tuesday. I was thinking about what I could share here, and I was like, okay, well, what has been the biggest advantage I've had in my business? Like, what really has helped me move the needle the very most? So I got thinking back, and it's pretty simple. So, no matter what business I've started, and I've started a few, right? Every time there's been a point where it's like, you're starting, you go, and you kind of, at least for me, it's like you hit an obstacle. And it's not so much necessarily like an exterior obstacle, it's an obstacle in your own confidence, an obstacle in feeling like you can do it, right? And the very best thing I've ever had is to be around other entrepreneurs who are doing other things. It starts opening your eyes to what is possible. So a friend of mine, she does hair, and she is absolutely amazing and incredible. But the thing that's unique about her is she charges $2,500 for a cut and a color and a style, or extensions, color and a style. Now, when I heard that, what it did for me was it expanded the paradigm of what I thought was possible. And that's the thing. I have another friend who charges $18,000 for her program, and it's a 10-week program. Like, again, it was like, boom, it gave me another idea of something else that I didn't know was possible, right? I mean, you think about, for me, right? I have grown multiple six-figure businesses, but I came from, I've worked as a maid. I've worked at a factory. I've worked at fast food. I've done telemarketing. I didn't come from money on any level, right? I hustled. I did. The maid job was, I'd say, was the hardest. But, I've been there, I've done that. And so my paradigm, right, I started here where it was like just busting out of minimum wage. I remember, so the very first job I ever had was outside of minimum wage. I was working as a clerk in the registrar's office at the university, and I was being paid minimum wage. And I had been to a seminar, and at the seminar, they were talking about possibilities, and basically that we get to create our own lives. And so then I was like, you know what? This is what I would like to do. And I told people this. I'm like, I want to get paid really well, more than minimum wage. I want to get paid really well. And I didn't really specify exactly, but that's what I said. I want to work with at-risk youth, and I want to talk about something around poetry and art with a Native American emphasis. I told people this, and people laughed right in my face. Like, literally laughed in my face. Like it wasn't a possibility. And it just so happened I saw this ad in a newspaper, and I called. It was for a charter school. They were looking for somebody to teach Native American studies. I started to teach Native American studies with an emphasis on poetry. It was all at-risk youth who had been in a different high school, and this was their second chance high school. And they paid me $12 an hour. And I felt like pretty hot shit, because literally I'd only ever made minimum wage, which back then was like 7. So 12 was like a massive thing, right? So it was a new paradigm. It was a new idea. And then when we started to create our own business, that was, it's like we went from, say, maybe a $200 paycheck to a $200 day, a $400 day. Like, it busted that paradigm. It was like, poof. But again, all of that happened, right? As far as the business is, we had a friend, Matt and I, we were backed up, and we're like, okay, wait, this worked for you when you created this job out of nothing. What kind of business would we like? How would we like our lives to look? And it was like, we wanted to be able to travel. We wanted to spend time together. We wanted to have free time. We wanted to have money to be able to do what we wanted to do. And so Matt and I were like, I wonder do we know anybody that has a life like that? And we're like, our friend Deb can always do that. So we call her up. We're like, hey, what do you do? And she was a photographer. And we learned how to do it. We bought into a franchise that cost us $11,000 to buy into. Anyway, and we became photographers. And that's when our days went from $200 a paycheck to $200 a day, $400 a day, $600 a day. I don't know the most we've ever made in a day from photography. I would say it was maybe a couple thousand. And again, so every time I've up-leveled, it's because I've been around other entrepreneurs that are doing something that bust the paradigm of what I currently know is possible. The more I got around people that was like, they had $18,000 masterminds, I was like, oh, wow, you know? And the first time that I paid for something, and it was $1,800 a month, and I was like, holy crap, right? And then I paid like $5,000 for coaching and like all these things. And like, again, as I started being the person who was like, I was seeing the value, I paid the money, and I got in and I did the stuff, it was like a new paradigm for what was possible. So for me, the very biggest business advantage I can ever tell you and give you is this. Get around people who are doing something. Get around people who have done something that you want to do, because then it becomes possible. The more you see that it's possible for them, the more that you start to believe it's possible for you, because you're like, hey, if they can do it, why couldn't I do it? The more you see it. And then if you see another person doing it, you're like, okay, if they do it. And then especially if you see behind the scenes a little bit, and sometimes you're like, oh, that course is not good. And you're like, man, they made a lot of money with that course. What would it look like if I did my course that I know is stellar and amazing and full of wonderful, amazing things? What would that look like? So the biggest advantage I can ever tell you is to have somebody to mastermind with, have somebody who is doing it. I am so, so lucky that my husband is an entrepreneur. Anytime I'm hitting those walls, the places of confidence, the places I'm not sure, he helps me because he is there with me. He's an entrepreneur as well. And he helps to remind me of all the people we know, of all the people who have gotten over that obstacle. And the more you know that, it's like, okay, well, if they can do it, I'm sure I can figure that out. I'm sure I can do it. And once you're sure you can do it, it's like a done deal. You pretty much just do it. So you guys, that's the best thing I can tell you. Get around other people, a mastermind, start expanding your paradigm of what you think is possible in business, and then amazing things are possible in business. All right, guys, in case nobody has told you yet today, you are lovable as fuck just the way you are. And if you guys are like, oh, I really want to do this, how could I get around some people who are doing amazing things? I am starting a level up next level circle of 5 women only, and it's literally wherever you are and where you want to go. I'm helping you get to there. You have my intuitive coaching every single week, 1-to-1 in a group setting. We are going to meet for 10 weeks plus some celebration stuff, and you get a 1-to-1 with me on the beginning and the end. It's full of amazingness, but it's literally just helping you get to whatever next level it is that you are looking for. Whether it's in your business, your life, whatever it is, having that confidence, busting out of those paradigms, and doing it along with other badass women. So if you are a badass woman that's like, yes, I have a message, I have a calling, and I'm ready to go. I am ready to stop sitting on this. It's a simple monthly payment. Get with me, message me, and let's work together. All right, guys, have a wonderful night, and I'll see you tomorrow.